Hey, welcome back to the channel, Fully Invested Phi Labs. Today I want to go over a topic that I've been meaning to do for a while, and that's why and how I carry no cash on hand and no emergency fund. So I know it's probably going to be a little bit controversial just because it kind of goes against conventional wisdom. But yeah, well, I want to go over how I was doing this in a way even before I started investing back in 2021, and really how that's led to my current strategy of being fully invested with investing my full paychecks every month. And yeah, just seeing how really I'm truly fully invested in many ways. So yeah, before we get started, of course, we'll just do a quick disclaimer. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here should be taken as financial investment and tax advice, especially with the topic that I'm going to tackle now. It's very personalized to my situation. Like, all I'm doing is sharing my personal investing journey and documenting my own results. Investing always carries risk, especially when using margin, and you can lose money. Don't copy what I'm investing blindly without understanding the risks and researching stuff on your own. No returns are guaranteed. So yeah, before we fully get started, you can kind of see the chart here of how I basically live out of my brokerage account on this channel. And this is the monthly flow I do of living outside my brokerage account, paying bills out of it, and investing 100% of my paycheck. If you want to get a detailed breakdown of this, check out the video on the top right. I covered this in great detail. So yeah, if we get started, so I kind of wrote off a couple of points here. So before I really fully got started investing back in 2021, I honestly, for the longest time, I was just kind of scared of investing. I didn't understand it. Bankers would show me the charts of stuff going up over time, and I just didn't get it. I thought it was a scam. So like, I was doing what probably most people do. They just kind of put money into savings, and that's how I was kind of saving up my money. And yeah, and even back then, I wasn't even doing like the good savings account. I think I had a lot of my savings in just like Bank of America, and their savings account gave like 0.01%, like nothing, pennies. And yeah, and I mean, even before 2016, like I got started on my career in 2010, 2011. And back then I wasn't making that much. I wasn't saving that much. So really in 2016, when I moved to the States and got my first big job, that's when I started saving properly. And yeah, but even back then, I kind of had the thought to like be aggressive with my saving, right? So really my money went to first bills, like kind of the traditional things, and then also the rest of it went to saving. So back then I was kind of maybe saving like $1,000, $1,500 a month, and I really only kept like $100 to $150 in checking. Yeah, my friend was calling me out on that the other day when we met up earlier this year, because he was like, "Yeah, it's crazy that you've been doing that for so long, and just, that you carry like basically no cash." Like, I had the cash in savings, but I considered that like gone. I wasn't touching it, right? So like generally what I'd do is I'd be using credit cards for most things, and I'd generally try to pay it off in full for the next month, just because like my thought with that, there was no like proper strategy and start of that. That was just kind of more, I wanted to collect points and air miles back then. I had my Alaska Visa card, which I used a lot, and honestly the air miles is like how I pay for a lot of my international trips, like our Japan trip we just did in September. That was paid for with air miles. So yeah, and in general, like I feel like, especially in the States, like I've rarely had to use cash. Like, it's in very rare circumstances where I need. Like, most times I can just get by with my credit card fine, and that's been nice to use, right? So like in cases like that, if an emergency happened, I'd generally put it on a credit card temporarily, and potentially what I'd have to do is like just hold on saving that month and just pay it off, for example. But yeah, that's how I've been kind of rolling between 2016 and 2021, honestly. So that for that long stretch of time. And like at that time in 2021, I must have been at like, I don't know, 70K in savings. I was just sitting there in a high yield savings account. But what really shifted for me was, and actually just as a note, so like you kind of tell here that like from being aggressive and kind of most going to savings and only keeping a lot in checking account, like almost zero cash on hand, right, at that point. But we'll see how that evolves. So once I started investing, that's where stuff kind of started changing a lot, right? So yeah, once I kind of started learning about investing, I had a buddy at work at the time in early 2021 who kind of shepherded me a little bit, and he kind of ran me through the ropes of investing. And funnily enough, it was kind of like GME at the time that kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I was like, oh, it's really just math and percentages and how that works. I didn't actually invest in GME, but like that's kind of like what somewhat opened my eyes to it. And then my friend kind of pulled me the rest of the way through. So yeah, I started like very low. I went with like 1.1K invested. I think this was at the end of February, and you'll kind of see it here. I pulled up one of my old E-Trade statements, and yeah, you can kind of see like some of my very first positions, right? So you can see that my ending balance at the end of February was $1,136, and then by the end of March, I had $36 $4,000 invested. So I think that must have been like half my savings at the time. So yeah, you can kind of see some of my first positions here: QQQ, VYM, VXF, VU, and Roblox that had just IPO'd at the time. And yeah, so like at the time, like I generally try to invest 30% of my paycheck generally. Yeah, I would pay my bills and then invest the rest within the paycheck, right? So it's kind of just the more traditional stuff. But I kind of had that gradual feeling where I felt that inflation was kind of just eating away at my money sitting in savings, particularly in 2022 when inflation's peaked at like just over 9%. And yeah, I just felt bad knowing that in the background. Like in a way, I just got really obsessed with like having my money work for me. Like that's what kind of pushed me from like going from 1.1K invested to like 36.2K invested, right? Like I put like 1.1K and then I put like another 10K. And then I was like I felt like that other 20K that was in the account was kind of like burning a hole in my account where I was like, it's not working enough. It's not gaining enough interest and gains. So like, yeah, that's what really pushed me to just keep pushing into the market, right? So really, by the end of that, I honestly invested everything I had in my high yield savings account, right? And then at the time too, I was still kind of keeping like $100 to $150 in my checking account still, just as like in case I needed money. But eventually even that stopped, right? And now I just keep zero in my checking account and it's been fine. Like I really wanted to invest every single penny I had. So I really truly wanted to be fully invested. Yeah, at one point too, I was even keeping my tax money in my high yield savings account for my business income. But in the end, once came tax time, most years I didn't end up using any of that money since generally I had a refund. So yeah, I just thought, I was like, I'm better off just even investing that too. So really just pushing everything in, right? So yeah, again, here at this phase of time, like I'm practically never using cash. I've always used a credit card. Like I'm generally using my Fidelity 2% cashback card, which at the time would just go into investments Fidelity, but also now I can just actually take that out and just pop it over to Robinhood. Still waiting for the Robinhood 3% cashback card wait list to get me off. And also my Alaska Visa, which I get for miles and how I pay for a lot of my my international travel. Yeah, and now the big difference with my credit cards is that I actually only pay the statement balance every month. So whatever I accrued for that month, the previous month, I pay that off. So just paying that amount just so that doesn't incur any interest, and not the full amount, because like basically like the amount that's not outside of the statement balance, that kind of acts as like a 30-day free interest, 30-day interest-free loan, right? So yeah, that's how I'm doing it there, just so I don't pay interest, but there is a balance that kind of rides there for like 30 days at least, right? So yeah, and given that this is not conventional wisdom, and that like also like you can kind of tell that like, yeah, I just used everything. I didn't have any cash anymore in my accounts. Like one big con that happened from doing this is in 2022, when came time for me to buy a house. And yeah, you can kind of see here how I'd format. So this is where I started on E-Trade, and then eventually I switched to Fidelity here. And yeah, so this was kind of like the early, like the 1.0 version of my my spreadsheet. And you can kind of see here where I had split in like 3 accounts. I had like dividend growth, I had my house fund. Yeah, I was investing stuff to get my to eventually buy my house, and then also just growth stocks. So I actually had these in 3 separate accounts within my Fidelity account. And yeah, I can't remember exactly what snapshot in time is this. This was probably definitely a little bit before I actually bought the house, but yeah, you can kind of see like, yeah, when I said I was doing single stocks, like this was a lot here. I really went hard in it. And yeah, and then my house fund that I kind of kept it safer in just QQQ and VU, and then my growth stock plays here. So some of these I sold over time, and yes, a lot of these I sold in 2022 just to kind of go into ETFs instead of holding single tickers. But yeah, that's why I say too, like, so for some of these names, right, I should have just kind of kept them, like Netflix, Nvidia, Palantir, like Roblox now. But yeah, so you can kind of see there. And yeah, and so my one kind of mistake that I did was like the house fund here, right? So this was going good up until 2022. And then obviously 2022, there's a big tech downturn. So yeah, so that's the one big con that happened when I had to sell all that money essentially. And I think when I sold, I had like 76K at the time here, but that sold at a 16K loss, which was a big one. So yeah, of course that's like a bit of a mistake, and yeah, that was the price I paid a little bit for my hubris for going this way. But yeah, so if you have like a specific goal or monetary goal that you're gonna hit in like a year or two, definitely worth not investing that and keeping that on the sidelines. But yeah, I ended up taking the chance and got burnt. But yeah, this became kind of like carryover loss that I'm actually still carrying to this year. So I can use this for taxes still, for it can offset any gains that I have and help not pay taxes on them. But yeah, when I went through this, I remember talking to a friend about it, and he was like, yeah, I guess you could kind of just see it as you kind of rebalance your portfolio. So yeah, you took a loss, but it all ended up evening out in the end. Like the house has appreciated since then as well too, and has more than made up for the 16K loss or whatnot. So yeah, overall my assets are still growing. So like really, like yeah, if we pop over to my Monarch account, right, right? Like you can kind of see this is my assets. Like, so you have my house here. This is all my investments. So this is not margin included, right? This includes my basic brokerage account. That's my retirement accounts. So that's like over 300K, my vehicle in there. And as you can kind of see here, zero cash. This is practically only zero. Like the only time there's cash there is like when it's sitting there waiting to be drawn out for a bill to pay, right? So yeah, that's where we were up until now, really, or really until May 2025, I should put here actually, because like what obviously switched is in May 2025, as you guys have been following since August, like a couple months after that. But I've kind of taken like the next evolution in being fully invested. So as you kind of been following along, like I'm now investing 100% of my paycheck every month. So I carry pretty much zero cash on hand, as you can kind of see here. And yeah, I pay all my living expenses with my credit cards. And again, here only pay my statement amount. Like I collect all the cash back and miles on that. And yeah, just because I just want to carry that any extra amount as a 30-day interest-free loan, and I just pay it off the next month when that gets posted on the statement, right? And then following that, like my bills and my credit cards, they all get paid out of my brokerage account with margin. So I'm basically bridging the gap between my monthly dividends and my monthly expenses. Currently, my monthly dividends are lower, but they're growing fast given that I'm putting about 6.8K in my high yield income ETFs every month, and then also 4K into my growth side. So yeah, the idea is that I never sell any assets though. I just don't want to interrupt the compounding as much as possible. Like the only time that I might sell any assets is really just I'm rebalancing maybe from my single stocks to my ETFs. And yeah, and that's still a thing. Like might still happen some days, honestly. I'm just like trying to get rid of all my single stocks and just kind of go back to ETFs and kind of de-risk a bit, but letting it ride for now. So yeah, that's kind of like the journey from how I started, from like just being in savings accounts only to yeah, just kind of being really like the beginnings of being fully invested and carrying zero cash. And then now I'm just like almost like the final form of this potentially, right? Where just zero cash on hand, I'm investing everything. I'm not only investing 30% of my paycheck, I'm investing 100% of my paycheck. So I'm just really wanting to accelerate that compounding like on steroids, really. So yeah, again, too, like need to mention that like, yeah, this is very against conventional wisdom. It's very unconventional. So yeah, this is very tailored to my situation and my risk tolerance. Everyone's situation is different. You gotta personalize any strategy to your own risk tolerance, your own personal situation. Everyone's situation is different. So, but I also thought it would be worth mentioning too that like, yeah, so in case an emergency happened, right? Because like, I don't know, knock on wood, no crazy emergency has happened in these almost like 10 years now since before I started investing in 2016. So yeah, nothing that's taken like tens of thousands of dollars or anything that's happened, right? So I've lucked out in that sense. But if should anything happen, right, there's a couple of recourses I can take. So I'll kind of go over them here. So for one, given that I'm kind of building up my stock portfolio, right? So first things first I could potentially do is take out a margin loan, right? So if we pop over to here, right? So my margin buying power is $65,367, and half of that is basically as available as cash for withdrawal. So this is like 32.6K of cash that I can withdraw out of my account. So this is basically would be a loan against my full asset value of the account, like the 289K that I have. So yeah, that's a potential avenue there. I could take a margin loan against my account. I have my HELOC. So I have a 66K HELOC right now. Like a good chunk of that has been used for some home renovations, but I still have like 26K available of that I can use in case of emergency. So like in this case, the HELOC could be used for emergency, for if I'm getting close to like a margin call for potentially, I can just kind of drop it into my stock account to kind of lower the margin. I have a little PLOC of like $5,000. I've never really touched, but I just kind of have it there in the background just in case. I have a lot of credit cards. I have different credit cards and they all have like pretty high credit limits. I've kind of just done that over the years to kind of just keep my credit card utilization ratio pretty low. So I actually have like 220K of credit room. That's quite a bit. So it's really just there like in case of like a crazy emergency where I might need to like do a balance transfer or something like that. That's an option. When I first moved into my house, one of the first things that I did was actually install AC because the house didn't have it. And yeah, I ended up doing a 1-year interest-free credit card that was just kind of like an application through the AC company. And yeah, that ends up working well because it's like, yeah, you just basically, I was able to kind of pay down that essentially a loan that was interest-free for a year, or it's almost kind of like a balance transfer or cash advance, I guess. And yeah, just paid that off within a year. No interest was gained on that. And yeah, that's an option too. So yeah, that was an expensive buy at the time. This was like 12K all in, I think. So yeah, that's an option as well too. One thing that I actually learned from Recycle Your Money, if you have a paid off car, which I do, and it's a pretty small amount, like you can kind of see here, it's only like $9,500, but that's also an option where apparently you can kind of go back to the bank and just add back a loan to it essentially, and then extract that money from it, from the value of that car. So that's also an option. So like all these are kind of like temporary measures as you kind of weather a storm, and then you can kind of just kind of repay that off. So yeah, and then I think the last one in there would be potentially I just temporarily pause my investing. Like right now I'm investing 100% of my paycheck, so, and I can use it to pay it off potentially. So that's like, 10.8K at a time. Because given that my portfolio is kind of like paying me dividends in the background right now, I'm at like just under 6,000 probably. And then really the last resort that I'd say for these two over here, and this ideally I wouldn't want to do at all, right? But that's there in case, really break in case of emergency. Like I'd rather do all these before I ever reach these, and it's sell some of my stocks or just touch 155K that I have. This is actually should be a 155K that I have in my retirement accounts. But yeah, ideally that I don't want to touch. Those are just in ETFs, and I just want to kind of keep compounding and grow in the background, right? So yeah, that's kind of like the journey, and like how, yeah, for the last decade almost, I've kind of been living with kind of barely any cash on hand to like now zero cash on hand. Yeah, just because like I have all these assets that are in there in the background, I can borrow against them. I have my house. Like, yeah, for me, it's just that like I don't want to have like 70K just sitting in an account, just kind of barely getting a high yield savings rate. And like right now, like the high yield saving rates are dropping because interest rates are dropping, right? So it's like it's getting worse and worse by the month. And yeah, for me, I'd rather just like, even if I put it minimally in like VU or something, right? Like at least I'm getting an 8 to 10% return every year, kind of beating inflation. Yeah, I'd rather be taking the chance to kind of have my money and my assets keep growing in the background versus like just staying stagnant into account and kind of losing to inflation every year, right? So that's the big gist of it, really. So yeah, like again, not endorsing this for everyone. Like this is very customized to me and very customized to my risk tolerance. Yeah, I realize that like not everyone can necessarily do that or should do it based on their situation, but this is me. I've been doing it for the last decade or so and it's been working out well for me so far. And yeah, I'm excited to just kind of keep investing every month and just kind of keep my nest egg growing, right? And just kind of keep this portfolio growing. So like, yeah, this year it's been amazing. Since I started the strategy, I've kind of grown my market value, my portfolio from 200,000 to like almost 300,000 now, right? So like when we look over here, since I started at the end of May investing my full paycheck, like this is some like great growth between the 205K and 291. Obviously not as much on the equity side given the margin that I'm using and it's still living out of my brokerage, but still some amazing gains here since I started the strategy. And yeah, that's where things are at, right? And yeah, you can kind of see where stuff is right now too, between my brokerage, my real estate, Roth IRA, HSA, 401k, just under 500K all in with everything, which is great before any debts. But yeah, that's the gist of how I've been kind of living with zero cash in the bank and yeah, no emergency fund. Just it's been working out fine for me so far. I know there's some people that are already doing this. Like I know Recycle Your Money has been doing it. Curious if any others have been doing this or have alternate ways that they're living with low cash in their bank. But yeah, for me, I've been enjoying this, and yeah, I'm gonna keep going with it. And you get a front row seat to this, really. Like when I'm now doing fully invested FI over here, right? Like you guys got a front row seat on whether my crazy strategy for fully invested FI will work, or if like my no emergency fund will work out. So you get a front row seat to all of it. Like because again, I love being transparent with everything. You'll kind of see all my numbers as they evolve over time and see how it all works out for me. So yeah, that's the video really. So as usual, if you want to follow me along outside of YouTube, you can follow me on Blossom Social. You can follow me as well on Snowball Analytics. Yeah. This is all for free. All the links are in the description below. You can kind of see like really how I have everything divvied up between my growth and high yield stocks. Yeah, recently I had the big rebalance between my anchor ETFs and my single stocks on the growth side. So now this is a lot better balance. I think now I have like 35% in my growth ETFs and then 15% into my growth single stocks, which is much better balance and more risk adjusted, I'd say. But yeah, you get to see all my real numbers. Nothing's hidden. And yeah, and you can also follow me on Patreon where I upload all my videos day and date from YouTube. So you can all watch this for free, the same videos. So really, this is just a backup for in case there's more shenanigans with YouTube. Just want to have a little bit more control over my videos and stuff. And yeah, and then of course there's the Discord. So if you want to join, I think we've just pushed past 200 members all in. And yeah, just great conversation there, talking about the market, talking about any news. You get all my trade alerts here as well, and people post theirs as well. So yeah, a lot of different ways you kind of see my trades, whether through Discord Reward, Snowball, and Blossom Social. Yeah, these ones are just a bit more hidden away, just percentages. You don't see like the actual dollar amounts. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video and you got some value of this and looking forward to more videos like this, or my portfolio updates, or my full paycheck investing series, give a like and subscribe on this channel, Fully Invested Fi Labs, or on the main channel, Fully Invested Fi, which I'll be back posting on by the end of January next year as I wait for my strikes to expire. And I'll catch you in the next one. I should be doing a portfolio update video probably Friday or Saturday this week. So got like 2 weeks to catch up on. So I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.